Good evening and welcome to the May 29th, 2025 council meeting of the Village of Holly. Clerk, please call the roll.
Weinbrenner,
Here.
Wendell,
Here.
Bryan, Koskela,
Here.
Cole,
Here.
Kyer,
Here.
Brandon,
Here, we have a quorum. I will entertain a motion to excuse Thomas Ryan.
I'll make that motion to excuse Thomas Ryan.
Second.
Motion by Wendell, second by Kyer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried. If you are willing and able, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, can I hear a motion to open a public hearing on consideration of Resolution 2025-013 for creation of a special assessment district for financing of police and fire protection services?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Cole. I have a second by Kyer. Do we need to do discussion to open public hearing? Or just all in favor?
Yeah, all in favor.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Tim, will you please introduce this item?
Yes, and so we've talked about this a little bit already at our last council meeting. We talked about it at our budget work session. I sent out a letter on social media and, and I'll also attach in your packet as well to kind of explain the situation. So just to start, like everyone in this room, I believe, loves this community. We're all on the same page that we want this community to be successful. And everyone wants what's best for this community. And no one here, especially the people around the table here, want to do a special assessment. No one wants this to actually have to happen. However, this is the way that we feel like we can turn the financial situation that we were inherited around and develop some strategies that can help us to move forward. And so if anyone has your letter, you can kind of read along with me. I'm going to go over some of the points so everyone can kind of understand how we got to this point before we go into public comment. All right. So on April 26th and May 3rd, the Village of Holly convened our budget work sessions to review our previous year's budget and strategize for our future. During these sessions, staff provided historical context regarding the village's financial challenge and proposed potential course of action for the village to consider. As the new village manager, alongside a newly elected village council, this is the first time they've seen a budget they've voted on as a council. We know it's tempting for us just to blame the previous administrations for our current situation. However, everyone here, and I hope the community too, is committed to confronting these issues straight on rather than pointing fingers and taking care of it now so we're not pushing it down for future generations more and more. I know we all aim to address these challenges directly, and we hope to right the ship to ensure that we have like a prosperous future here. But to achieve this, we really have to work together as a community to ensure that we thrive. So in the discussion, when we're talking about the police and fire and all the things that we're struggling with, I'm going to talk about mostly with the general fund, which differs from some of the other funds we have, like the water sewer fund. We don't intermingle these funds. The general fund finances our essential services such as public safety, our police and fire, public works, the administration, community services, planning, development. So the way that we get some of our money, so we receive state revenue from Michigan based on a 15% of the 4% portion of the sales 6% sales tax revenue. I know that's a lot of percentages, but it's not very much of the 6% that you get. We don't, villages, communities don't get any money from income taxes. And the state has, over the last few years, cut down on how much money they give to municipalities to balance the state's budget. How that's factored in is based on several factors, based on population, what kind of municipality are you? Are you a township? Are you a village? Are you a city? and our taxable value. So in the fiscal year 2025, we estimate that our state revenue share will approximately, for 2025 be, or 2026 rather, be about $800,000. How much we anticipate to get from them. And I'm just putting some of these numbers up so we can contextualize this information. So the largest source of revenue for us comes from the millages levied on real property taxes. If you want to know I was talking to council earlier, and members of the community, they're trying to figure out, well, how much is a mill to me? So a mill is whatever your taxable value is, just divided by 1,000, that equals 1 mill. So that's how you can do it. So for example, if the taxable value of your house is $70,000, that was one example that I had. So that would be, it's usually, it's not how much your house is assessed at. It's usually like half of the assessment of your house is what your taxable value is. So if your taxable value is $70,000, then 1 mil would be $70. And so that would equate to about $385 a year, annually, for if you were to go to the full 5.5 mils that we were considering. Originally, so how did we get in this situation? Like, how did we get to the point where we don't have the funding that we need? So our millage that we originally established was back in 1982, and it hasn't been touched since then, as far as raised. So in 1982, the village decided that to operate at the minimum standards that we need to do as a village, we need to operate with 20 mills. And that's where we started. And so based on the Headley Amendment, which came out in 1978, that every year our millage goes down to the point where it's at now, where it's at, I think this next year, 11.3254. So we started at 20 and now we're at 11.3254. You used to be able to roll it back up, but in 1994, Proposal A came out, which doesn't allow communities to roll it back up to get back to right where you need to be. And so since 1982, we've just kept going down, but at the same time, inflation has gone up for us. Services, needs have gone up in the community. And so we're just, every year, they're being asked to do more with less income. And so simply put, our current millage is not sufficient to sustain the level of services needed within the village. And you look at your, so where does your money go? Like when you pay your property taxes, not all of your money goes to the village, right? So almost 50% of your money right away goes to schools. So 37.18%, or so, like about 37% goes to the local schools, 8% goes to intermediate schools, community college is about 4%. We have another like 5% going to county public relations, the zoo, arts, transit. We have another 10% going to Oakland County, another 7% going to the township operations, and about 29% goes to our general fund when we're talking about how we operate. So we are operating at about half of what, for the entire village, for our police, fire, DPW, parks, everything, we're running at about half of what the schools get in to do all of our operations. So how are we spending that money, all right? So our biggest expense is our police and our dispatch. If you can look here, it's about 35% of our budget goes to police. So that might seem, so to give you a number for that, that's about 1.7 million. And when I give you that number, if you look at our budget, it's going to say more like 2, but the reason that it's that is because that other chunk there, that pension liability, is baked into the different departments. So every year, because of decisions that were made in the past on the defined benefits program that the community had, we have to pay until 2040 $1.09 million to pension liabilities. And so that's between a fifth and a quarter of our budget. Every year we have to pay into these legacy costs right away. And I know that $1.7 million seems like a lot, but if we compare to like surrounding communities, for example, Springfield Charter Township, who contracts out from Oakland County, who has a very similar footprint as us as far as police go. They have 9 officers, and we get, everyone else can get some of the other services from Oakland County, but they are charged $3.8 million to contract that service out. And our officers are able to get there in 2 to 3 minutes, the service that everyone kind of appreciates within the village. Our next biggest expense is fire. And that is about, this next year we're projecting it's going to be about $900,000 for us. What that also doesn't tell you the full story is that Chief Watson and his team does cost recovery on that. So out of that $900,000, he also brings back, about this year, it's going to be approximately $220,000 back to that. So that, cuts it down. If you live out in the township, you pay 4 mills to NACFA. Well, those 4 mills that the township pays to NACFA equates to about $1.2 million, how much they have to pay in order to contract that service. So our services that we provide are actually cheaper than what is contracted out in the surrounding communities. If you look through our budget, and I would challenge anyone, our checkbooks are out there open for everyone to view. And you can go online and look at where we plan to expend money, how we've spent it. It's out there for everyone to look at. We live pretty lean for the services that we are asked to provide as a village. So let's see. So how this has looked on our general fund is since 2017, you can see that it's continued to depreciate. Our general fund, they've been in deficit budgets, meaning that our expenditures are higher than our revenue. Because we still need to maintain a certain level of services, but we just don't have the revenue left to do it. You see that there's that little jump in 2020, 2021, 22. Well, that's during the pandemic when we were getting federal funding that was able to, correct that for us in that portion. If COVID didn't happen, then we would have been faced with this 5 years ago, 4 years ago. We would have been in this boat, and we would have been facing the same kind of financial, considerations we're at. All right, so this is the situation we're in. All right, as far as where we're at, and that's 2024 we're looking at in that. So we're way beyond that. All right, this last year, the deficit that we were left with was about $700,000. The year before, it was like $666,000, $400,000. This is how the deficit has been. And the problem has been, in my opinion, looking at the budget, looking at the audit, it's not necessarily an expenditures problem. I know people could argue this, but it's a revenue problem. We just don't have enough money to provide the services that the community expects. So the choices are whether or not we increase amount to get revenue or we cut services. So if we wanted to, get rid of, police, fire, these things, which I don't think we want, because even if we had to contract that out, it would be costing us more as a community to do those things. So we need to have a solution now, and that's why we're looking at doing a special assessment. Yeah, we could do a Headley override, and that would put a vote to the people, which we would like to do, but that is a multi-year process. It would take a while to do it, and we need to right the ship now. And again, no one wants to do this process up here, but they are committed to do the right thing in order to save our community, because this council, the staff, has inherited this situation, and we're doing the best we can to do it. We are planning, in July, August, the staff is going to be presenting some more long-term strategic plans that will lower the financial responsibilities to the community, as we go through this process, as we can look ahead and make plans, and I'm excited to present those, but they are things that take time. I mean, nothing moves fast in government, as everyone knows here. So what is Public Act 33, the thing that we're talking about today, the special assessment? A lot of people know special assessments as things like, you need your road fixed, we'll special assess the community around it, and the village attorney, if I get any of this wrong, he's more of an expert on this, please correct me. So, a lot of people know the special assessments as things that we assess the community that lives around the road to provide the service. One of the ones we do is around the mill pond. The residents around the mill pond that would like the weed treatment, we do a special assessment to get those weeds treated. So this is different than that. This is under Public Act 33, which is also amended and changed in, I think, 2002 as well. But this is for police and fire services and operations. And so through this, it's a multi-step process. Tonight, it's not getting decided on. We're not deciding what the exact mills are or anything like that. We're going to talk about what we're proposing, what we're thinking about, but tonight is only to create the special assessment district. And the special assessment district that we're proposing is the entirety of the village, with the exception of anyone that's already property exempt. So if you're already an exempt veteran, you're a 100% disabled veteran, anyone that's already property exempt, you will continue to receive the same exemptions that you do. And so the steps to this process, and this is where I might need you to step in if I get it wrong. So, all right, at the last council meeting on May 13th, the village passed a resolution with its intent to create the special assessment district. So we started to estimate the costs and expenses that police and fire would need for us to do our level of operations that we need to do, and also cover that deficit so we can provide a legally balanced budget. And that we also had to determine what the special assessment district would and what the boundaries of that district would look like. So, and then that brings us to the next step, which is this first public hearing. This first hearing is to establish the district and to approve the cost estimate and hear any objections to the special assessment district, like the boundaries of it. After this first public hearing, the village council will vote to adopt a resolution confirming the special assessment district, confirming the costs and expenses, and directing staff to spread the levy on the roll, or propose to how that would look. We will do, if approved, if we go through the whole process tonight and it gets approved, the second public hearing, which we have scheduled for June 10th, if it gets approved, this hearing is to hear objections to the distribution of the special assessment levy on the taxable properties in the village, and hear any objections on the roll. And after that second public hearing, we would adopt a resolution approving the assessment on the roll, which are then levied on the tax bill. Going forward, so the duration on this, you can go up to 15 years on a special assessment, I believe. I've said 5 years is what I would like to do as the duration, because if we can't fix this in 5 years with our long-term solutions, then something's really wrong. And so I just want to have us buy some time in order to impose some of these long-term solutions so that we can take some of this financial burden back from the residents. And I believe that we have some great strategies that we're coming up with to do that. And every year the village council shall determine, we'll do another public hearing to determine the amount to be assessed in the district for police and fire protection services. And we'll estimate the next year's costs and expenses and hold a public hearing to set the levy for the following year. So that is the process as I understand it. Did I get anything wrong? Well, he helped me write a lot of this, so yeah. So I appreciate it. So, Madam President, that is the introduction. There you go.
Okay. Do we need to make a motion to exit the public hearing?
We've already started the public hearing, so you can move to public comment. Madam President.
Okay. So now, the public comment is going to be for non-agenda items. At this time, members of the audience may address council on...
I'm sorry, Madam President. No, this is public hearing for this item. The public comments that are non-agenda would be after the public hearing. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank
Sorry,
you.
yeah.
All right, now,
Madam President, the microphone's not on the stand.
oh, can we have a microphone on the stand, please?
Oh, yes.
That would be helpful.
Somebody get up there, go, tap, 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 tap.
Thank you, Brian.
Test.
Okay, this public comment is your opportunity to appeal to the council. There are some brilliant minds in this community. We are all ears and hopeful to hear some creative ideas. So please, if you have a public comment, raise your hand and I will call on you. You will have 3 minutes. And don't expect it to be quick. I think a lot of people in here have a lot to say. We'll start with you.
Me.
And please state your name.
One item. Did we actually vote on opening public, or the public hearing? Was there a vote taken?
We already did. Yeah.
Okay.
And please state your name and address for the record.
Okay, my name is Sherry Funk. I live at 1009 Hubble Drive within the village of Holly. First off, I'm not really happy with the amount of time that was given us when we got our notices. You're supposed to get your notice 10 days prior to this meeting. I got mine 2 days ago. It's not a lot of time to prepare. Also, too, when looking at a special assessment, you're tying this special assessment to taxable value. And most special assessments should be proportionate to the benefit received
from that special assessment district. Michigan courts have established that the primary justification for a special assessment is an increase in a property's market value directly and uniquely resulting from the improvement. I don't think that's going to happen in this case. And when you tie it to taxable value, everybody's going to be paying something different. So how do you justify that somebody that's paying $100 on a special assessment as opposed to me paying almost $300, that their benefit is any greater or lesser than? You can't justify that. So I really feel that some more thought should be given into how you're going to, fund this. And then what happens to the money that's already being given to police and fire out of the general fund? Is this in addition to or instead of? And then that other money is allocated somewhere else. So, and I would like to see some numbers because this just doesn't sit well with me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anna Matson, 15091 Western Valley. I've come to these meetings for years. I've tried to warn you about our financial situation. Others have too. You ignored us. And now you're pushing a so-called police and fire assessment. But let's be honest, it won't be given to police or fire for more resources. It'll just free up money in the general fund for you to continue mismanaging. We got here because Ms. Brandon and others on the council made financial decisions based on marijuana tax revenue that may or may not come in. That's like deciding to build a house with a Christmas bonus you might get next year from a job you don't even have. April Brandon was on the last council. She had access to the same audits and financial reports that warned this village about the coming deficit. Can I pause my time, please? Okay, I'm going to start that paragraph again. April Brandon was on the last council. She had access to the same audits and financial reports that warned this village about the coming deficit. She chose to ignore them. Mr. Price can say this situation is not his fault, but Ms. Brandon, you cannot. There's too much evidence showing you were warned, but instead of taking accountability, you gaslight the public and put all the blame on Jerry Walker when council has authority over the budget. Now the council is trying to push through an assessment that will increase village taxes by 50%. Not to build a station, not to buy equipment, but to plug a hole that Ms. Brandon helped dig. The worst part is, the manager said the public would likely say no to a tax increase, so you decided to go around the voters instead. That's not what our founding fathers had in mind for us. You claim authority under Michigan Act 33, but ignore our very own charter. Our charter clearly states that special assessments are for public improvements that benefit specific properties, require an engineer's report, and follow a set legal process. What you're doing violates all of that. It's not just wrong, it's unlawful. And while you try to distract us with talk about the millage rate going down, the truth is this: the village revenue has gone up every single year, and that is publicly available. You are bringing in more money from property taxes every year. What we have is not a revenue problem, it's a spending problem. There is no resident that has supported our fire department like I have. I want them to have everything they need, but I simply can't trust you guys will manage more money when you blew it with what you had. This is we the people, not we the government. If you move forward with this illegal assessment, you not only violate our charter, you invite a class action lawsuit this village clearly cannot afford. So here's the path forward. Call a special election, present a clear, transparent plan for how the money will be used, and let the voters decide.
Hello, my name is Joshua Hoare, 707 Hollybush Drive. I'd like to talk about special assessment under Public Act 33 and how it applies to SAD. Maybe a couple questions for you, sir. No, it's not a back and forth, but traditionally a SAD cannot be created to fill a general budget gap. It seems like what this is doing. It also, you say 5 years, you can't really say a 5 years, that's implying that it is a tax. It's just a tax replacement. And this special assessment appears to violate the requirement for direct and measurable benefit. Where is the benefit documented, and how does it justify this cost to my property? And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. John? John, you asked me earlier about non-agenda. This particular piece is the agenda.
I got something for each one.
Okay.
John Love, 200 North Saginaw. There's a third way of handling this problem, and you haven't mentioned it. Combine police and fire. And I was in Grosse Pointe Woods. They have combined fire and police. So you have fire equipment and the training and the police. They're the first ones there. There's another problem too. We have the North Oakland County Fire Authority. I've talked to them. They'd be willing to integrate the fire departments so you don't have to have all kinds of different administrative overhead and duplication. But this requires thinking. And that's not in the agenda here. It's just, well, we got to give them more money, or we got to take more money out. No, the third possibility is to make some intelligent reforms, improve the efficiency of the operation. That's a new concept. That's what is really needed to be considered. And you can call up Grosse Pointe Woods and ask them how they survive with combined police and fire, because they just put the equipment in the car, they're trained, they're the first ones there. So there's a way of doing this without, there's two ways of doing it. Don't reform anything and throw some more money at it, or make some intelligent reforms and investigation and presentations. And we haven't reached that point yet. All it is we need more money.
Thank you, Mr. Love. Anyone else? I see a hand.
Hi, my name is Mary Swartz. I live at 1012 Old Lee Court. I've been here in the village since '93, but my husband grew up in Holly and we've been here. Anyways, this is a topic that comes up all the time. All the time. In 33 years, it's let's raise more money because we don't have, years ago, you scared the old people and Presbyterians so bad that they voted for the millage to go through. My mother-in-law was one. Well, the police aren't going to come if we privatize it or farm it out. I worked for Holly Schools for 25 years. We went through some hard times in the school district, not having money. There were times we didn't get a raise for 3 years. There were times we got a nickel for 3 years. There were times that I didn't need it, but my fellow employees had to pay for their own insurance. That some of them were working just to pay for insurance. This is ridiculous. I'm not a mathematician, but I estimated it's going to cost me between $800 and $900 a year more in taxes. My husband's retired, I'm retired. So now what am I thinking? Okay, you got to go back to the bus garage. You got to make some money. This is shameful. This is what you do. Holly Schools did it. You consolidate your businesses. You consolidate your offices. You consolidate or farm out the police. Sorry, no offense. You guys are great. And what is this that we can't use the sewer and the water money, but we can loan the money to get new police cars? I want a new truck. I can't afford it. So I have to live within my means. The fire department, look into consolidating with them because we no longer have it. So I think you guys need to look within your own budgets. Like everybody else in the village has to do, we have to live within our means. So start looking inward. And I think it should go to the vote. We, the people, not just you guys up here deciding for all of these people. It is ridiculous. And one more thing. I called your village office to ask about a question for this letter. Do you know what I got? One thing, they didn't even say, "Hi, village offices, may I help you?" No, it was hello. I said, well, I want to question about this letter I just received. It didn't give me enough, it's not giving anybody enough time. Do you know what she said to me? "I don't like your tone of voice." And then she hung up on me. There were many parents that I would have liked to hang up on at the bus garage through 25 years, but that was my job to talk to them, whether they were mean to me or not. So then I called back. A lady answers. I said, "Are you the one that hung up on me?" And she said, "No." I says, "Can you find out her name for me?" Do you know what? She told me her name. Her name was Chris. I left a message for whoever's above them. I never received a call back about my question, and it wasn't addressed on what this woman did. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I see a hand in the back.
Bless you.
Hi, Stacy Ward, 107 Lake Street. This assessment worries me a little bit in the way that I already feel like I'm not getting very much for my taxes. Nobody's even talked about our roads are beat to death. And you want to ask us for more money? Yeah, I want the cops to come too, and I want the ambulance to come too. But listen, we're already not getting anything. Just a few years ago, I went to turn on my water. I had no water. I called the village. I said, "Hey, is there something wrong with the water?" They're like, "No, nope, we're all good." I'm like, "Are you sure?" They're like, "Yep, it must be something in your house." So my husband and I changed our plans. We went to Home Depot. We replaced all the plumbing in our house. Turned on the water on Monday. No water. Guess what? It wasn't our house. There was a great big hole underneath the road right in front of our driveway that nobody in the village noticed. No water, nobody noticed till we called because we didn't have water. Oh no. Any apologies, any money given to me because I had to just go spend $1,000 to replace my plumbing? No, nothing. Nothing. Now, I know you all didn't inherit this, but every time there's a council, the council's always doing the best for us, but yet nothing ever changes. Who put the fancy signs in at Battle Alley? Did the businesses pay for that, or did that come on my taxes? Because I know those businesses up there. Why? Because I live in the village. I walk up there. I don't need those signs. Who were those signs for? The tourists that don't come because our village burnt to the ground? And there's nothing left for them to go to? You want more money? I don't want to give you any more money. I can't even drive up my road without driving like this. And I'm waiting for one of these gentlemen to pull me over and ask me why I drive like that. I can't wait to tell him. It's because of all these damn potholes. So can you find a different way? I like the other ways where we look in our pocket and we find a way to budget, because that's what I have to do. That's what my husband has to do. We have to budget our money. We don't have anyone to ask for help. I don't know if anyone else in here has a godmother or godparent or guardian angel, but most of us don't. So please find a different way, or absolutely put it up for vote. It shouldn't be your decision, or his, or his, or his, or hers. Thank you.
Bill Hoffman, 414 The Grand. I've been through this before with dispatch. I'm pretty sure I know that you don't care what we think, but I think we should put it to a vote. I love our police department, fire department. They do great. When there's a fire, one house goes down, not the whole city like California. But I really think it should go to a vote or something like that. And, you know, I was questioning the 2 letters and 1 vote the other day too. It's like, I'm assuming there's a law that you have to put 2 letters out or something. So you just send them out at once, hopefully nobody sees it, I don't know. But that's how I feel about it, thanks.
Thank you.
My first name is Amy, A-M-Y, last name is Ray, R-A-Y. What I'm about to say will make a lot of people in here very, 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 very uncomfortable. We're talking about direct and measurable benefit. In the past year, me and my mother, we live on College Street. We have extended family members who live within the jurisdiction of Holly PD. We have an unfortunate situation. We have a special needs child, age 13, who has a lot of different problems. His mother passed away 7 years ago. He's being parented by a gentleman who's doing his best, but our family is right now finding out how we can be of more assistance to this family and to this child through communication with me and my mom. My mom is a great grandmother. I'm a great aunt to this child. Last summer, about at least a dozen family members, a minimum of like 8 different mandated reporters filed a CPS report for the safety of this young man in a situation that dealt with guns. This was an urgent situation. We called Oakland County Dispatch because we didn't know if they were in the Holly PD's area or not. We were told there was a weird computer system in Oakland County, so it's a toggle. And they told us that Michigan State Police had jurisdiction over the mobile home park. So me and my mother, who's age 85 right now, something she didn't want to do, and this was a confidential CPS report that now I am willing to make public. We went to Michigan State Police. We gave them about 30 pages documented on 5 different categories that this kid needs help with, okay? We went to police because it dealt with about 5 to 7 guns at this child's house. In February of 2024, there was a new gun law passed in Michigan that said all guns where a child is residing or has access to need to be either locked or in gun safes. We knew from this child that they were not locked. We knew that there was like an AR-15 strapped over this guy's dad's bedroom. And although the kid wasn't allowed, but the father had said, if somebody enters, you can use my gun, which is illegal. Okay, so there were massive red flags happening. To be on point here, we called CPS. The reason we did is because Holly PD, the middle school, may I continue?
I'll give you another minute.
Okay, the middle school liaison checked on our nephew, my great nephew. He went by the house because this child was alone, went in, checked everything, said, your father has to lock up his guns better, which meant that there were some unlocked guns. We immediately went to Michigan State Police because we were told by Oakland County Dispatch to do that. Then the CPS person, according to Michigan State Police, said, no, that's Holly PD's jurisdiction. Because a CPS person, the second visit, Holly PD went there, said to the man, you need to put guns on gun locks. We understand, no action was taken. No follow-up was done. We, as a family, called CPS through Michigan State Police. They looped through Holly PD, where a Holly PD person said, you need locks, get them, before the CPS person comes. Less than a week later, because of this child's disabilities, he was taken advantage of. The AR-15 was stolen, shot. No lives were taken. A 19-year-old went to jail. Another one went to juvie. We are trying to get help for this young man. I will tell you, a mandated reporter who is helping to homeschool this young man filed another second CPS report.
Amy, I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah,
but
I'm
you
just-
have to be cognizant of the time for everyone else as well.
Absolutely. 30 days passed, Holly PD they closed the case because because we haven't heard back from Holly PD in 30 days. I had to reach this CPS's person's supervisor, who I'm speaking to tomorrow. 30 days went by on the second CPS call. What are we paying for?
Thank you.
An AR-15, please. Lives. If you want an increase, Where's the value?
Thank you. Public comment, I see a hand.
Chad Cole, 206 John Street. And I will just direct all the comments at the council. I think it's your guys' responsibility to look at what's going on. Sounds like you guys are trying to circumvent the process, the court process, and the process of keeping the power in the people's hands. And I just want you guys to think about other options. The downtown area has some land around there. I don't know what the city's portfolio is on like permits for using the park or more taxes for the weed people. They keep that corner over there pretty busy. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, but yeah, you guys really, I would say, probably think about that. Let's try to see a little bit more transparency. And yeah, had some other good points, but sounds like people do not want you guys to, you know, push something on the village. And there's probably some other ways, consolidating and merging the two is, you know, a possible idea, but just try to keep the comments on the council. It's on you guys to lead the village, so keep that in mind. You want to keep the trust of the people on your side. That's all.
Thank you. Clarissa, yes.
Brittany Smaggy, 405 Fenwick Street. I want to start by saying I love our police and fire department. 3 years ago, the fire department saved my husband's life when he had a diabetic seizure. Officer Bob's been there when I got rear-ended. I'm very thankful for them. I don't not want to support them. However, I'm sure this council knows, last month I got a $1,000 water bill. When I called to ask for help, Miss Lisa Bone and Carol in the office said, well, we'll give you a payment plan and give you no help with it. And then, after I paid $150 towards my water bill, the very next week, they shut my water off when I was home alone with my 3-year-old potty training toddler. So, I don't really have an idea of how to go forward from this, but I would like to say maybe you guys can do a 6-month payment plan and figure it out yourselves. Have a good day.
Reagan Rockwell, 836 Hollybush Drive, Holly, Michigan. The special assessment, some people have mentioned that even this meeting tonight, why have we gotten letters so late? My husband and I received our mail on Tuesday. I called the post office today just to ask what had happened because it didn't even have a postmark on it. I understand it was sent out in bulk mail. We've talked about trust before. I remember specifically a meeting in July or maybe June of 2022 when this very same thing, I think, was they were trying to put it on the August voting to vote it in, but they did it in too short of time as well. So I would just encourage you guys to try to do things, at least have the look of integrity as you're doing them, because I think, I'm just not speaking for myself, I think we're having some trust issues here. So that whole MCL section 211.741 explains all of that and how this should even go down. Like, as far as I can see, it doesn't legally look like we should be having this discussion. Like, it shouldn't go, it's good to have this discussion, but it doesn't look like a special assessment should come out of this, and it should be really done the legal way. Secondly, I'm just trying to think creatively because I really do love our police department. I love our fire department. You guys really are great. Thank you for your service and putting your lives on the line every day. So we need to find a way to help you guys out. Do we have grants? What kind of businesses can we draw to the community? I was in Fenton the other day and learned that they were getting a Kroger. I understand that we're loyal in this community and we want Holly Foods to thrive, but I've had friends not move here because we need a real grocery store. I understand that Holly Foods, Kroger has some land on Grange Hall Road, but I think that would be township, so it wouldn't draw taxes for the village.
Can we get a real grocery store? Are we vetting businesses to bring to this community so that we can be a thriving community? So that we don't have to go to Fenton or Grand Blanc or somewhere else to get our groceries, especially for people that don't want to have cars, because hey, if I lived in the village of Holly and if I had a grocery store nearby, I don't think I'd need a car. So vetting businesses, I'm wondering about that. Also, as much as I love our police department, I think I love Laub's idea of, can you combine the fire and police? Can you combine, I've heard talk before about offering services to the township. So can you combine and maybe bring in more money that way? And I know maybe it divides services, but what are the numbers? What exactly are the numbers? I don't think we'd want Michigan State Police. I think it would. Love our state boys, state guys and girls, but response time might be long. I hear it is sometimes. Why not a substation from Oakland County? I know Brandon has one, and I think they're great. What are the costs for that? Could we see the numbers for that?
Thank you, Reagan.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too. No, I'm sorry, Kristen, Kristen, and then,
Oh, I
you, Brandon.
just don't
Sorry.
get them out and you call.
you'll be next.
Okay, is it okay for me to be here then? Okay, thank you. Kristen Watt, 102 South First Street, number 3. I just wanted to be here tonight because I'm going to tell you, everyone in this room, I wish I owned a home in Holly. I really wish I did. I rent, so this doesn't affect me. Well, not the same. I'm saying I don't pay property tax. Okay. That's how that doesn't affect me. But I know that it is a bigger picture, and every inflation, all of it, it does affect everyone. The only thing that I really wanted to mention here tonight, and the reason I came, is because after 10 years of living here and 6 years of attending meetings and being a volunteer and doing many initiatives that I have felt passionate about in this community, I have worked at some point prior to any of y'all being on this council, and except for maybe Buster, who I've known through council, in some capacity of service. And in the last week, just with the Mill Pond Dam and now this is the first time, and it is super unpleasant and super, nobody wants to have this conversation about how, like, this is not a good place to be. And I do think I hope there are creative solutions other than this to come to a resolution, but I did just want to maybe just bring a perspective that after sitting through 4 different councils, and there's people that have been here way, way longer than me that have sat through it all, and I respect your experience and your wisdom and your guidance, but every one of you live in the village too, so this affects all of you. I don't think any of you got elected here to make your property taxes go up. You're residents here too. You are a librarian for children and an educator. You are always at every event volunteering with your children after work every day. You are a Purple Heart veteran. You are a Gold Star mother. You are an ex-police officer. You are a veteran. Thomas is a veteran. Many of you were willing to risk your lives for everyone in this room. I don't think anyone came here for nefarious reasons to be elected other than public service. I don't think anyone here wants to raise taxes for fun. I just want to say, I think with this group, listening to these people, and having Tim here, who has no property in the village, no relatives that own property in the village, and no conflict of interest with this community. He's brand new, and he helped revitalize Milford and Grand Haven and came here. And I'm sorry that you have to kind of be the bad guy sometimes on this stuff, but I do think we have an opportunity here to listen to everything everyone's offering, creative solutions, and actually finally work together to move this village forward. I trust each one of you as far as character. I will never always agree with each of you on every issue, but I do feel like there is a lot of anger in this community. Clearly, nobody trusts this local government for decades now, and y'all have this opportunity to rebuild that. And I'd like to work with you to do it. Thank you.
Hi, I am Emma Balak, 301 North Saginaw. Sorry, I have accent, so you have to listen good. But I want to say something. First, I thank you very much to our police and to our fire department because they are doing a very good job and they deserve their pay and they deserve their equipment. Unfortunately, they are asking, or maybe the village president or village council, wrong people for money. What I see, first, I bought my house on mortgage 12 years ago to retire here. Then I started to work for Uber and Lyft. What I see, change of traffic tensions, very bad. It changed like 4 or 5 years ago when there started to be constructions on I-75. Then I live on Saginaw, between Maple and Grange Hall. I see it coming by my house, by my retirement house, and half of the 75 is taking Saginaw. Like last week, there was a deadly accident by Grange Hall on 75, and I saw in the paper, local paper, printed in Fenton, that I saw a picture how it happened. Instead of 75, drivers didn't know what to expect. You have 2 lanes down south, 2 lanes back to north, and you don't have barriers. Something happened, someone got killed. Who was called? Our police, our department, fire department. Who, at least 50%, should pay for all this money what they are needed is, unfortunately, from my point of view, state of Michigan. Where are money from them when they do construction to allow for police and fire to take care of everything? And where we are residents, when we need something, not I didn't need anything so far, but they should ask somewhere else, not homeowners. Second, I understand that they are...
Emma, you're at time. Could you wrap it up, please? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, there is 10-day mailing notice for them, these people, to send us notice about meetings. That wasn't done. Even last week, minutes from this council didn't include that. The law is from 1962, but it is still valid. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma.
Good evening, Ryan Matson, 15091 Western Valley. One of the long-term creative solutions that I believe that it was hasn't been talked about, but has been talked about at previous meetings is the village becoming a city. With that would come a resurvey of the village where a portion of the township would become part of the city, and after that, the mill rate would get reset to whatever the council and administration decides. If we're looking at long-term creative solutions and we're going to look at cityhood, I believe we should look at just as earnestly dissolving the village and becoming a charter township. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lisa Minardo,
representing Holly Plaza Partners. So for Holly Plaza, 15181 through 15231 North Holly Road. So I'm probably one of the only people here who actually doesn't live in Holly. But I could speak to having extremely short notice of getting this, and that I scrambled to quickly get up here. I also found it very difficult to find information pertaining to how much is going to be assessed and what the allocations might be. I know the allocations are part of the next meeting, but I feel like someone might know or already be proposing something of what the allocations might be and how much is actually going to police and fire. I feel like if I was trying to do some revenue raising, that police and fire is something that people are going to jump on, but I actually question how much is really going in that direction.
Thank you.
My name is Jeff Ballard. I live at 202 Lakeview. And I guess my first thing is a question. Why wasn't this put on the ballot last November? I would guess because you figured it would be defeated if it was. And now you wait till this point to where a lot of people, what about the people that's working tonight? They're not even going to have an opportunity to express their opinion. And if you people haven't noticed, this country's bankrupt. There's the average American family with a credit card, there's $35,000 debt is what the credit card debt amounts to. Now, that's bankruptcy. I don't give a heck how you want to put it, they're bankrupt. And the way things are going up, business is going out of business because people can't afford to patronize them anymore. And with the cost of everything, about a month ago, I had to get my prescriptions refilled. A medication that I've been taking for probably 10, 12 years for my heart and CPOD, whatever the lung thing is. There's been no copay on it for all that time. I went to get it refilled about a month ago. There's $120 copay on that one medication. Well, I quit taking the medication because I can't afford it. And anyone, the way things are, anyone that would ask for a tax increase at this point, I don't care if it's from Washington, D.C. to Holly, Michigan, is an idiot. And there's no other way to put it. And it hasn't been but a little while ago, last year sometime, the fire department was out giving away, or going to give away, smoke detectors and install them for free. And now I guess apparently they're broke. Well, any time any responsible person that's dealing with like your home budget, all the money goes into one account and then it's budgeted out. And that's the way the Holly should do it. You set an earmark for the fire department and the police, then they're separated from the regular budget.
Jeff,
Any
you're out of
overage
time.
they
Can you
have is
wrap it
going
up
to
in the
get
next 10
wasted.
seconds, please? Your time has ended, but can you take a few more seconds to finish what you were saying?
I can't hear you.
Your time has wrapped up, but can you take a few more seconds to wrap up your final thought?
Any overage that they have out of this account for just the police and the fire, any overage is going to get wasted. Rather than budgeting it out to what they have to have, spreading it out through a budget, That's the only sensible way to run anything. I don't care if it's your home, if it's a village of Holly, or the state of Michigan, whatever it is. And thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Glenn Mitchell, and I don't live in the village, but I have a business in the village. My address is 3404 Mitchell Road in Holly Township, and I have business on Grange Hall Road. Just want to mention that when you look at the millage rates in Oakland County, the village of Holly is one of the highest ones already. Just realize we're already paying a lot of taxes, we're already paying a special assessment for the trash. It's $200 last year on each parcel. Also, our water rates are one of the higher ones. I've just been always disappointed, and I know there's only so much you can do, but this building costs a lot of money when the township wanted to work with you, and perhaps a much more cost-effective thing. And again, Northwest Oakland County Fire Department is around you, and it seems, I cannot believe it's not more efficient monetarily in particular, and probably in even service, to combine back with them, and it would save money, save time, and be more efficient. But anyway, I want to thank all our service providers. They do a great job. I don't want to downgrade that, but there is some point you do have to watch the money you're spending. Thank you.
Whoever Chief Narsh is pointing at, please come up. Oh, sorry, I couldn't see your hand.
My name is Allie Lizette. I live at 604 East Sherman Street. I bought my house here nearly 5 years ago by myself on a teacher's salary. In the 5 years that I've lived here, the cost that it takes to live here has nearly doubled. I think it's a great sentiment to want to balance the budget for future generations, but I think that what's lost is that your future generations will not be able to live here if it continues to increase. I love living here. I love how safe I feel, so that really is a testament to you all. But I think that we need to really look internally and be a little bit more scrappy, look at the efficiencies, do what the residents do who live here with small budgets before we start asking for more.
Thank you.
Angela Wallace, 709 Baird Street. I just wanted to, because it was brought up about this building. This building was built not that long ago. You all know this. We went through a whole lot of things to build this building. $745-ish thousand. We did have an opportunity, you're right, to go over to join forces with the township. Unfortunately, we were told at that point, you can just go in, set up a card table, and put a phone in and you'll be all set. The township actually is going to come to you as well with a tax increase of $5 million that they're asking for you because they cannot open that building because there's that much that has to be done to that building. So when you're saying this building versus that building, you're not talking apples and oranges at this point. You're not saying $745,000, that was a lot for y'all to spend. We're on the hook for $5 million over here. And that's only to open the doors. That's not even to do any renovation. That's just to be in there. So your township is not the savior that everybody's looking to think that they are because they have wasted money on the homestead property. Everybody, there's barns there, not finished, falling apart. We put money in there. We built an $800,000 road. The township did. To where? Doesn't even come out to North Holly Road. So to say that the township and the village should come together, there's going to have to be a whole lot of things that are straightened out because the township has wasted your money through and through, time after time after time. And I've lived here 13 years and I've seen it every single year. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Dan Payne, 327 Fairfield. I think when it comes to fire, police, and emergency, they should kind of have whatever they need. I was at the meeting for the dam the other day, and I find it kind of interesting that a special assessment wasn't brought up for the 20-some properties that are on there to fund, say, a 200-year-old dam that really serves no purpose anymore. Another thing to think about would be, I think the village needs to start catering to a younger tax base. That probably is part of your problems. I do have young kids, I do live here, and yeah, we go outside of here for everything. The parks are nicer everywhere else. Everything is everywhere else but here. You know, I've been here about 10 years, so been here some time. I also think that a small little municipality like this should also get out of the water business. Don't think it's your strong suit. And that might save you guys considerable amount of money. I grew up downriver. There's a lot of communities that used to have their own water, and they don't anymore. And there's a reason. It's because it's expensive to maintain. Your quality is not going to be the same as a larger place that can do it better because they have more funds. I agree with the people here that it should go to a vote. I mean, if you shouldn't try to run in a special assessment on emergency services. I think you guys should maybe look at doing that for the dam.
Pardon?
Can I speak again, because we didn't have the speaking before? I just want a quick couple things that I forgot.
I'm sorry, I can't permit that, then I'd have to do a second round for everyone.
You can do it.
There you go.
Well, the first thing that.
Please state your name for the record.
Kenneth Rockwell, 836 Holly Bush Drive.
Thank you.
In special assessments, there are other costs that go with it. The example being with the weir on Bush Lake. Now we're also paying on our tax bill the mowing costs for that. So what are the other expenses maybe with that? And then it looks like other special assessments that seem unnecessary, like the Art Institute, I don't know how many people take advantage of that on our taxes. So all these things are just piling up, I think is the idea. What am I missing?
I just wanted to ask the audience, how many people use?
We're not doing back and forth right now. Whoever is at the podium has 3 minutes.
Yeah, I thought it was too, but.
Order. Order.
Yeah, just agreeing with everyone else that the time we were given with the notice was totally incorrect. Didn't go out first-class mail as it's required to, bulk mailing with no postage. I mean, all these things are just pretty ludicrous. No one disagrees with the great work of our safety people, but the fact of the matter is, it's being used as a threat against us, is the way it feels to most people.
Yes.
You know, you don't do that, you don't give us money, then you don't.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm Joe Hagan, 1012 Marion Drive in the village here. I just got my letter a couple of days ago, so I don't know really what you're getting at. Apparently you got a big chunk of dough that you need to come up with, and you're trying to figure out where to get it. I kind of like Mr. Love's idea, and it's not only an idea, but it's a pathway, really, the way you're thinking to put a budget together. When you come out with the idea that you got more expenses than you got income, you got to stop and go back over every one of your expenses, and just like a business does, and you find out where you're going to cut. Now, does people like cuts? No. Do we love our police and fire? Absolutely. Police and fire are kind of a heart sort of thing. if you don't give us the money, we're gonna let your house burn down. Or I'm gonna pull you over and give you tickets all the time, or something of that nature. No, that don't happen. We love our police. We put them on a positive, and fire, we put them on a positive note. But thing of it is, you're dealing with only two things. Income, expense. That's it. Everything's a dollar. It's not a police officer. It's X number of dollars. It's not the police officer's offices. It's an office. Where can we kind of combine and put things together? And you got to do it. It's the village, it's the council's problem. It is not a special assessment. That's not going to fly. A special assessment, you're going to put a road down in front of my house, and you're going to give me a 10-year assessment of X number of dollars. That's a special assessment. This thing, we got a negative balance. It's not a special assessment. It's going back and finding it in the budget. Thank you.
Any further public comment?
My name is Mike McCarthy, 207 College Street. What I'd like to say isn't so much about whether we, how well-funded our police and fire should be. Obviously, they should be whatever we can all agree on. The process, though, that I'm witnessing here tonight, the letter's not going out on time. Whether this even qualifies as a special assessment, because it's pretty dubious. Even if you were to ramrod this thing through, subvert the will of the taxpayer or the voter, you're going to spend money on lawyers to try and, why? It doesn't inspire a lot of confidence up here when I see, it brought up that you trust us is what we hear. Oh, we might have it paid for in 5 years. Trust us. We trust you to follow the law. You didn't send out the letters. You're trying to shoehorn a hole in the general budget into a special assessment. It's just not there. This is all corrupt, what you're doing. It doesn't inspire confidence in any of you nitwits. Thank you.
Any further public comment? Okay, hearing none and seeing none. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make the motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion by Wendell. We have a second by Weinbrenner. Roll call vote, please.
Cole,
Yes.
Weinbrenner,
Yes.
Koskela,
Yes.
Kyer,
Yes.
Wendell,
Yes.
Brandon.
Yes, motion carried. Let's take a break. We'll be back at 7:20, 7-minute break.
Attention, people. We need you back in the building if you're going to attend the meeting.
Clerk, if you could please call the roll.
Weinbrenner. Oh, I'm calling the roll.
Here.
Wendell.
Here.
Ryan. I'm sorry, absent. Koskela.
Here.
Cole.
Here.
Kyer.
Here.
Brandon.
Here. This meeting is back in session. At this time, members of the audience may address council on any item not on the agenda. Those addressing council are asked to provide their name and address and will be limited to 3 minutes of speaking time. Council will hear all comments for future consideration, but will not have a response at this time. Prior to addressing council, members of the public shall state their name and address for the record. Mr. Love, would you like to kick it off? Sure. Okay.
John Love, 200 North Saginaw. I'd like to talk about the water bill. This $25 charge that's made on every water bill is illegal. Jerry Walker decided that he didn't care about obeying the law, so he went and spent $250,000 to pay off the judge to keep it in place. It's a fixed amount. There's no relationship to your usage. So if you're a widow, you're paying the same amount as a factory that uses more water. The fair way to do it, and the correct way, is to merge the cost of the debt into the water rate. So if you're running a factory, you're paying a lot on the debt for the facilities, the towers, whatever. Instead now, some widow or orphans or whatever, they're going to be paying the same amount as a factory. Now, if you don't think that's unfair, and if you think that it is, stop drinking the water. Change it.
Thank you, Mr. Love. Anna.
Anna Matson, 15091 Western Valley. I find it interesting that Angela Wallace came up here and lied to the entire public as an appointed official on our planning commission. Let me break down what happened. About a year ago, the village had to relocate offices. They had 3 options: rent from the middle school, build this office with money we did not have, or move into the brand-new township office for $1 a year because that's the minimum contract they could offer. So basically free. I'm glad this was brought up. Ms. Brandon swears she did her due diligence when deciding what option, but I found out from the township that she never even walked in the new township office. Do you really call that doing your due diligence? To not even look at the free building being offered? If you did your due diligence, you would know that the township office is beautiful and only needs some, maybe cubicles, that's it. The township is now looking at building a building big enough for a community center. This would have been at no cost to the village. They're still doing it because it's their project. This is a township project that from funds that they have saved over time. The village could actually take a lesson from the township on how to budget. So again, please take accountability for not doing your due diligence.
Ryan Matson, 15091 Western Valley. I am one of the township trustees. I represent everyone here. Last meeting, I asked very specific questions at that meeting in regards to some of the comments that one of the citizens made. Unfortunately, her representation is very much not the case as to when it comes to financing and looking into the new township office. I'm going to read the April 16th minutes that we approved. One of our new business items was looking into the bond. The board stated that the Township Hall project will be paid for from the general fund and tax revenue. There will be no new tax levy for the project. They also noted that they will consider other ways to fund the project, not just bonds. Approval of this agenda item is, sorry, I touched the screen. Approval of this agenda item is in no way obligates the township to issue bonds for the project, and that at any point the township can delay or pull back from the bond issue. I spoke very clearly with questions at the last meeting. There is no intention of raising taxes on our citizens for that project. The current building was bought with cash due to savings. We have a pool left to help with funding the big long-term project that we want. As far as the farmstead, majority of that has been done with gifts and grants. The reason it has not had much done to it as of late, we were coming out of winter and the melt. The ground is not at an appropriate hardness for there to be heavy equipment. Again, a question and point that I raised at the last meeting. So I would please encourage all of you to attend our township meetings, look at the minutes, so you can hear the truth and the real information in regard to what it is the township is doing. Thank you.
Any further public comment?
I'm supposed to say my name and everything again?
Yes, please.
Okay, 405 Fenwick Street, Brittany Smaggy. This is about, not off the agenda, right? Okay, so I wasn't sure who to call because it was after hours, because y'all only work 4 days. But my trash wasn't picked up, and my neighbor's was, so it feels a little personal because I've been bad-mouthing you guys over the whole water situation. And again, going back to that, we have not received our water results from Holly or Fenton. I know you stated the Fenton results at the last meeting after we had left, but we haven't received those in writing upon request from my husband. We haven't received the Holly ones. We're not really sure why Fenton got them back so soon, but Holly hasn't. And we also haven't heard back about the extortion claims where you told me to pay $170 or you're shutting my water off, and then you proceeded to shut my water off. So if somebody could figure out how my trash could get picked up, that would be fantastic. If we could get our water bill results back or the water meter test results back. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. That would be fantastic. And yeah, I think that wraps it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Hearing none, seeing none. Moving to new business. Lisa, will you please read item A of new business?
Consideration of Resolution 2025-013, the creation of a special assessment district for financing of police and fire services, and direct the village manager to spread the assessment levy on the value of all of the lands and premises in the district, except for those lands and premises exempt from the collection of taxes under the General Property Tax Act, and to file the proposed levy with the village clerk.
Thank you, Lisa.
Madam President, so just getting a note from the village attorney on this, we need to amend this language slightly. So the first portion, and I'll read how he recommends to amend it. So consideration of resolution 2025-013 for creation of a special assessment district for financing of police and fire protection services, and direct the village manager to prepare a proposed special assessment roll and to file the proposed roll with the village clerk treasurer for public exam.
Okay. Do I have a first to consider this resolution?
I'll try to change on the slide real quick too, so everyone can see it, so.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Cascella.
I'll second that motion.
We have support by Weinbrenner. Any discussion? We will start with the public.
Well, the way you do it is you just give them more money. You don't reform anything. You don't modernize it. You don't combine police and fire. So you're doing a good job here of continuing to mismanage the assets of the community.
Any further public comment?
So what exactly does that mean? Does that mean that you guys are going to prepare you're going to prepare a proposed special assessment rule? That doesn't mean that this is final, or does that mean this is final and y'all are voting on the finality of it right now?
Thank you for the question, and I will actually have Attorney Gildner answer that.
Thank you.
Actually, I'll address that and add another point. Of course, the issue of public comment at this point is within your discretion as council, but you just had a hearing on this very topic. And
I'd like to point out that it's a little different now, and this wasn't posted. So I wanted to give them the opportunity again, since it is within parameters of process.
As I said, it's within your discretion, so I respect that. In terms of, is this a final if this goes through? No, it isn't. So a roll would be prepared, it would be on file with the village clerk treasurer, it would be given to council, it would be available for inspection, there would be another hearing in June to consider any comments and objections to that roll as prepared.
Thank you. Any further public comment?
Reagan Rockwell, 836 Holly Bush Drive, Holly, Michigan. So what I'm hearing is by moving forward, instead of maybe sending out a mailer 10 days in advance so that it is really legal, we're not hearing the voices of the people that have shown up here tonight, because every person who is here has shown up to protest. And I understand from MCL Section 211.741 that by signing in tonight, that is by definition protest. So if this many people showed up with receiving their letter in the mail on Tuesday, how many people would have showed up if they would have actually received their letter on time? So I just really do ask that you take that into consideration. I did want to expound upon something that my husband said earlier. Just keep in mind with special assessments, sometimes there are costs that are going to come with that forever, additional costs. For instance, what he was referring to was the weir on Bush Lake, that it was a special assessment for a weir, a dam on Bush Lake, approximately in 2010. And we paid about $350 a year, $3,500 total, each of the 100 residents, I believe, on Bush Lake for 10 years. But now we are also paying, and during that time we've been paying about $100, I believe, in township taxes for somebody to come and mow that. And I don't remember if that's a once or a twice a year. Please don't quote me on it, but I feel like it's $100. I feel like we as tax-paying citizens could probably switch off mowing that little section right there. So what are the costs going to be down the line? We've asked for some additional costs. It would just be nice to see what the budget looks like. Could we have a budget meeting where the residents come and maybe give ideas? By show of hands, can I see how many people actually use the Detroit Institute of Arts? Okay, so we've got a few people. Do you use the Detroit Institute of Arts? We pay for that, I believe, in our township taxes. So I'm trying to think outside of the box. What are some things that we can do to create smaller government and create a better life for those here in Holly? I believe that I know we're also taxed for Oakland County Mass Transit Authority. How many people here are taking advantage of Mass Transit Authority through Oakland County?
Older people did.
Like they get WOTA, right?
Yeah.
So we had WOTA before, I believe.
Okay.
But I'm talking about like the big bus. We don't benefit from that. So I am asking you guys vehemently, especially for our at-risk population, our elderly here, can you guys be advocates? Watch our taxes more closely so that we aren't paying for things that we don't benefit from. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anna Matson, 15091 Western Valley. Hopefully this is the last time you guys hear from me tonight. I just want to tell the public what just happened. So the village attorney, after my public comment, went and actually read our charter. And actually saw that there's a section that says special assessments. So what he did is he changed it to say special assessment role, so they can try to go around our charter. So not only are you going around the will of the people with this, you're also trying to go around our charter. Thank you.
My name's Holly Castle. I'm 880 Elm Street in Holly, Michigan. I received a letter on Tuesday stating that this meeting was happening and what was going on. I don't think that's adequate time for anyone. I had to leave work early in order to make it here, and I barely made it here. I think that you guys are being a little shady, to say the least, with the way things are being done, and I feel like people are being priced out with certain assessments and taxes and them being increased as frequently as they're being increased. That's all.
Joe Hagan, 1012 Marion Drive. Been listening to everybody tonight and so forth. I haven't heard any numbers. What kind of numbers are we talking? What are you looking for? 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, $500,000? What do we want a special assessment for? What's it going to be? How many dollars? We're writing all this up and we don't have any dollars? You want an open check? You know, we say whatever, where it says dollars? Is that what we're going to do? Does anybody answer me?
No, this isn't time for back
Okay.
and forth. When the council
All
has their
right.
discussion in a few minutes, we'll be
Okay.
talking about those things. Any further public comment?
Chet Cole, 206 John Street. Just wondering what the attorney's connection is to the village of Holly. Who is the attorney? Who hired him? Is he from Oakland County, or where is the attorney from?
This isn't time for back and forth, but when the
It's-
council has.
I mean, it's a question.
When, this isn't time for question and answers. You
Yeah.
get to make your public comment for your 3 minutes. When the
Okay.
council has their discussion, we will refer to the questions that were asked.
Okay, all right.
Any further public comment? Okay, hearing none and seeing none, we will move to council comments. So this is where we'll have some discussion, and we will perhaps ask questions of our staff as well. Number one, Mr. Gildner, can we get some legal input on the appropriate use of assessment for police and fire? Because that was something that was brought up many times tonight.
The Public Act that was referenced talks about special assessments for police and fire services specifically. So there's no question about it. Your charter provides for special assessments, as does state statute. Special assessments are done to finance all kinds of improvements, from mosquitoes to police fire to roads, drains, the whole 9 yards. But in this case, for police and services, it is specifically mentioned PA 33.
Thank you. Tim, can we get some information on NACFA? I know that that is something that we've looked into. I know that you've done a lot of work, and I thank you for that, but I don't think that anyone here is really aware of some of the Q&A that we've done in the past about that. So if you could talk a bit about the cost of NACFA compared to what we're looking at.
So specifically with NACFA, like I said earlier in my opening comments, so the township, for example, uses NACFA. They contract out for North Oakland County Fire Authority. And what they assess the township residents is 4 mills. And so what that equates to, if you're doing the math, and if anyone wants to see the math, if you look at the agenda packet, all the math, and we can talk that, is on there. The budget, how much we spend on the police and fire, exactly what we're spending on it, what these millages would look like are on here. They spend 4 mils on their fire, which equates to about $1.2 million based on their taxable value and how much mills would come in from that. So again, our fire service, we are looking at this in the next fiscal year being about $900,000.
This question has been asked before, and I believe originally asked by Mr. Cascella. What happens if we do nothing? What happens if we don't do anything? How long do we have until something, and what is that something? What would that look like?
So that's a good question. And so that at some point, like the point, we've gotten to the point now that what we've inherited, I mean, this council, the staff that's currently here, like we might get to the point where we would have an emergency, like the state would actually come in, be removing our services, removing our police, removing our fires, coming in with machete, and what is a process that we can fix, I believe we can fix this in the next 2 to 5 years. And we can actually grow our capabilities and become, and actually lower the taxes for everyone across the board. Remove the special assessment, do it if we take some steps. Mr. Mattson earlier mentioned cityhood. That is an opportunity. We would remove township taxes. We would be able to maybe increase our taxable value. We'd get more state revenue share. These are all things that we can look at in order to have some long-term solutions. But right now, we're at the point where if we don't do something immediately, and that's, you know, we would love to put it to a vote. We'd love that, but we don't have the time to do that because of, like, I've been here for 136 days. Not that I'm counting, but that's how long I've been here. And so this is a solution that we've come up with in this time, and it really is one of the only solutions as far as if we want to maintain control of our village. We don't want the state to come in. We don't want to have if you've ever seen what happens, that takes 10, 20, 30 years to recover from. If we do it right now, and we take this time, we can recover from this in the next couple of years. But we have to make these decisions right now.
Okay, what about the late mail? Like many others here mentioned, I also got my mail 2 days ago. I had 2 letters in 1 envelope. Can I have some input on that, please?
Yeah, so after the last meeting, we prepared it. We had a little issues like getting all the names. I mean, getting all the appropriate addresses based on the appropriate role, like having all the property and being able to, you know, we're a one-man shop. We have very small staff, you know, for what we're doing, and being able to get everything out there. And we, I think most of them were postmarked on Friday or Thursday and Friday when we were able to get them out. And so,
There's no postmark. There's no postmark.
well, I'm sorry, when they were presented to the post office and for them to process and all of that was
They were
Thursday.
presented to the
Order,
post
please.
office on the 22nd, because I checked. That's only 7 days.
So with that in mind, well, hold on. I think I have one other question first. Oh, what was the amount? What is the amount? I think you said it was 800,000 for 2 to 5 years?
So, all right, so again, the amounts, so what we wrote in here, I was talking about the maximum amount that I would recommend would be up to 5.5 mils. And so where that would equate to is estimated from the millage would be approximately $905,726.64 approximately, based on our taxable value.
A year?
That would be, for the year.
It's going to change because taxable value changes every year.
I'm saying for
based
this,
on the rate
yeah,
of
for this
inflation.
year.
So
Yeah.
now, when back to, and because this is where I wanted to end my questions before we move to the rest of council. Back to the late mail. How much notice are people supposed to have for special assessment meetings?
10 days.
I'm going to hand this one over. Yes, Mr. Gildner, please, the village attorney.
So there's 2 different things that we're looking at. There's your charter and then there's PA 33. PA 33, I believe it says it's 5 days. Your charter
while you're looking that up, am I to understand that if there's two things that we have to adhere to, that should mean that we have to adhere to both? So whichever one is stricter?
True, yes.
Okay. So already I can tell you, I didn't have 5 days' notice. I got my letter on Tuesday. So with that in mind, can this meeting even move forward?
The, and to follow up,
We're gonna listen to the advice from legal, please. We're gonna maintain order so that we can get through this, if you don't mind. Thank you.
it is section 33.022, section B. Talks about the report shall be available for inspection for 7 days before the hearing.
So one is 7 and one is 5, and I got neither. I got 2.
And then it is to be published at least 10 days prior to the time of the meeting.
Okay. So from what I'm understanding just from this, I think if we even consider it that we have to do it perfectly according to process, we have to do it to the book, and it doesn't sound like it is.
I'm hearing tonight for the first time that perhaps that was not adhered to. I did not know about that beforehand. Of course, there's an argument that since today is just one step in the process, the lack of notice, again, that's something I would have to look at. Does that affect the entire process? Since you're not making a decision tonight that would bind you, that's something that I would have to look at.
Order. Order, please, or we will have to take a break. So if we continue with going through with a vote, I believe each council member is potentially opening themselves up to a lawsuit.
I'm not
if
doing
they're
that.
found to be derelict in duty.
Nope.
If notice wasn't served on time.
There's certainly there's no individual liability on council, simply because the notice wasn't given. It may impact the validity of the special assessment, but that is totally different than personal individual liability on the part of council members.
So the validity of the special assessment is pretty important as well. So let's get a consensus from council. Council, what do you have to say?
My understanding of notice, if notice is not given, we're holding the meeting again. So I think we need a clear answer from legal if it's when the postage is dropped off. Now, there's no stamp on the mail we're hearing, so how do we actually know it was dropped off? So it doesn't sound, if there's any question, I don't think we should do it because we're gonna have to do it again.
Thank you. Buster?
I have to agree. I think that we should do it again and get the letters out properly before 10 days.
Kyra? Ditto. Wendell?
I agree the same way. I received mine on Tuesday too, and Mr. Gildner hasn't stated whether or not it has to be marked or received by that person. And then he said it had to be posted 10 days prior. Was it posted anywhere 10 days prior?
Cole?
I agree. I think that going forward, if a special assessment is something that we need to do it legally, and we need people to have notice for it. So I don't see a point going forward tonight.
I mean, we want our citizens to trust us, not think we're trying to be shady.
I do have a question. We have a meeting scheduled for June 10th. Is that something that can continue, not in its actual capacity of what we thought it might be, but to further this, that way we are giving people plenty of notice by June 10th? Our budgets are out there, people can see them, they can pick them up. The budget, as we went through it, all those videos are there, people here are aware, they can watch them, so that people have more notice. We've already put it out, people have gotten the letter, June 10th might be on their calendar. It makes that seem like a valid date.
Good question for Mike.
You certainly can. Yes, you'd have to give notice, much like, at least in terms of, you'd be modifying the notice. It wouldn't be to consider the roll as prepared. It would essentially be a redo of tonight. I'm just talking legally. I have no idea what else is planned for June 10th, from a procedural perspective. But yes, you can absolutely keep that date.
We can keep that date, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So you have to give a new notice?
So,
Yes. The 10th isn't gonna work then, is it? You'd have to mail it by the 1st. Or actually before the 1st.
Again, does that mean that it has to be postmarked, Mr. Gildner? Or does it mean it has to be in their hands by then?
I heard 5 and 7 days when he was speaking.
I find it hard to
earlier.
believe, maybe we can tell the post office how long,
Well, if I mail you something that's postmarked, that way then I can say, it went to my office. I can't predict how long the mail's gonna take you to get it. But we gave it to you within 12 days. We allowed 2 days for mailing. If it took 4 days to get there, we're sorry. We did our due diligence.
And none of them were.
Yeah, I know, mine didn't have one either, so.
all right. So I think staff needs to reconvene. And we need to start over and do this right. So for now, I would ask, do Weinbrenner and Casella rescind their motions?
you just vote it down too. Doesn't really matter.
Can we vote on something when we shouldn't even be having a meeting? Or should we just rescind the motion?
I can rescind my motion.
Same.
Okay, motion and a second were rescinded. Would it be tabling or postponing?
For something like this, it would be postponing, and my suggestion would be that instead of postponing until June 10th, to give administration, time to make sure that they hit all those benchmarks, just postponing to a future date as determined by administration.
I will entertain a motion to postpone this meeting until a future date as set by administration.
I'll make that motion to postpone this to a future date set by administration.
We have a motion by Wendell.
I'll second that motion.
We have a second by Weinbrenner. Any public comment?
You're brave.
I'm going to be totally gray by the time this is over.
I just want to be clear, just for the attorneys, just for the feedback, everybody is talking about the right thing. From what I'm seeing, MCL Section 211.741 is the section that talks about notice of special hearings. If we look at one of the MCL Act 33 of 1951 that Mr. Gilner is talking about, they refer to special assessment in this. So it's my understanding, just having been a paralegal in the past, that we've got to refer back to the special assessment language, because I don't see it mentioned in here. So if you can just comment a little bit, or let us know the other numbers or other MCLs or acts that you were talking about, just so that I can go and look those up, so that we can all be clear, so that we don't have to take this much time and spend that much money on mail in the future when resources can be utilized better ways. Do you have that other public act that I asked for earlier? I would just like some clarity.
This isn't back and forth or
Okay,
Q&A.
thank you.
Any further public comment? Is it Holly?
When is back and forth allowed? It's never, so you guys don't actually discuss it with us?
When you make your comments, the council listens, and I'm going to answer this just for clarity for everyone, even though this is not back and forth right now. When we have our discussion, it's at our discretion to bring it to staff, as you were watching me do a few minutes ago.
Okay. Feels very.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Can you take the mic, please, so that the video recording and everyone can hear you? Thank you, sir.
I came in with a cell phone and when on break, I had to use the bathroom.
Mr. Lee,
Yes,
I have your phone.
thank you.
End of that public comment.
I see Brownie points for police. Any further public comment? Hearing none and seeing none. I don't know where we are.
Adjournment, basically.
We're voting on postponing.
We're voting on postponing. Thank you. Call the roll, please, clerk.
Cascola,
Yes.
Kyer,
Yes.
Wendell,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Weinbrenner,
Yes.
Brandon.
Yes, motion carried. At this time, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Motion by Wendell, second by Kyer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
It was an easy investigation.